Alright, hello everyone. So today I'm going to be making a Raidraptor deck profile. This is for Master Rule 4 revision, not Master Rule 5. So with the revision, you can now spam your extra deck all you want. So I updated this deck for that purpose. Especially there's recently dual overload, but dual overload did not give me Arsenal Falcon apparently. So kind of sad about that. But I did give Wide Strict, but it was kind of too late. So, but other, but other than that, I also wanted to remake the profile because the original one is kind of bad, and there's quite a huge update for this deck. So let's just get started. So first, I run the main card of the deck that you really wanted to run 3 copies, Raidraptor's Vanishing Lunas. So when it's normal or special summon, during this turn, you can special summon one level 4 or lower Raidraptor from your hand. This is Just keep this in mind. Even if this card leaves the field by any purposes, you can still special summon another monster from your hand, because as long as it's during the turn you summon it, the effect immediately activates where you could special summon an additional Raidraptor from your hand. And so this is an essential big combo piece that you really need to run at 3. Same thing with this next card, Raidraptor Fuzzy Lunius, which has the Bora the Spiro special summon effect, with a second effect where if it goes to the graveyard, you can add a copy from it from your deck to your hand, which is essential combo piece. And it also helps with your double XC plays or triple if you have the resources. Next, I run Tribulunius, which when summoned, you can Foolish Burial a Raidraptor card from your deck to your graveyard, and that will be essential for a combo piece. And the second effect is that this card destroys a monster by battle. During your main phase 2, you can search for a rank up quick play from your deck to your hand, which there's only one in this deck, but the main effect that you want to focus on is the Foolish Burial effect. And the combo piece that you want to really go with is Mimicry Lunius. So when this card is no more special summon, you can increase all Raidraptor monsters level by 1. So you can go for rank 5 Exceed with this. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, so detach or Foolish Burial by this, you can banish it and add a 1 Raidraptor card from your deck to your hand. So essential combo piece that you must run at 3. And then because we're back to with the Master Rule 4 revision, I'm playing the 2 Singing Lunius. So if you control an Exceed monster, you can special summon it from your hand. So of course this is your combo extender. And then for hand trap purposes, Booster Strix. So when your Raidraptor monster is attacked, you can banish this from your hand and destroy that attacking monster. So it's pretty good. And then I play 1 Necro Vulture to return your rank up magic. So you can tribute it and then return 1 rank up magic card from your graveyard to your hand. But you can only use that rank up card for the turn. So it's helpful sometimes. And then for your big Raidraptor play, you play Lastrix. So its effect is that when your Raidraptor is attacked while you control spells and traps, you can special summon this card from your hand and then gain 100 life points for each. But that's not the main focus of the effect. The main focus is the second effect, where you can tribute this card, special summon a Raidraptor Exceed monster from your extra deck. That's important because you're going to do your rank up plays with it. And then, but your opponent takes no damage for the rest of the turn. No battle damage anyway. So this is for your big Raidraptor Exceed plays, but I don't use this for... Well, I do use it for that purpose, but I don't use it... but that's not my main play. So, which is why I'm running 2 and not 3. And then for the last of the monsters, I run Pain Lunius because for combo plays. So its effect is that if you control a Raidraptor monster on the field with levels, you can target that monster, special summon this card from your hand, and this card becomes its level, and you take damage equal from its attack or defense. Choose the lower one, of course. And you're restricted to Wing Beast for the rest of the turn. So that's all the monsters, and now to the spells. I play 3 Raidraptor Nests. You want to see this as soon as possible, so its effect is that if you control 2 Raidraptors on the field, you can add 1 Raidraptor card from your graveyard or Raidraptor card from your deck or graveyard to your hand. And you can only use 1 of these per turn. So obviously this is your main consistency, your searcher and all that, and recycler. So you really want to see this as soon as possible, but it is searchable with mimicry. So you should be able to get this card no problem. And then for just in case purposes where consistency is an issue, I run Raidraptor's Call, which lets you special summon a copy of a Raidraptor card that is already on the field. With, well, of course, with from your deck with the on the field. So, and that's for consistency purposes. And now for the rank ups, I run 3 Skip Force. This card ranks up your Raidraptor monster by 2, and it also has a graveyard effect where you can banish it along with a Raidraptor monster and special summon a rank and exceed. But you cannot activate this rank up effect during the you cannot use the special summon effect from the graveyard during the same turn you activate the rank up effect. So this is decent for recovery and also goes to your big boss monsters. And now for my only card that ranks up by 1, Revolution Force, which is a quick play, so keep that in mind. So of course you rank up one of your Raidraptor monsters. During your turn you rank up one of your Raidraptor Exceed monsters by 1. And during your opponent's turn, if you activate this card, you can take control of one of your opponent's Exceed monsters that has no material and rank that monster up by 1 as material. So if your opponent does play an Exceed heavy deck, you can just take their Exceed monster if they have no material, and then use that to rank up something. But normally you're going to be using it to rank up your own stuff, so that's not going to really matter. And then for last resort plays, I play Soulshade Force, so which by paying half your life points, you can special summon 1 Exceed Raidraptor monster from your graveyard, and then you rank it up by 2. So this is just your last resort play if you need it. So I run 2 for just more likely to draw if I'm ever stuck with no cards in my hand and just luck of a draw. And then for the rest of my spells, I play the Pot of Avarice, the Foolish Burial. This is for Mimicry, and this is just because I'm going to be sending a bunch of stuff to the graveyard. And 2 MSTs, because your big Raidraptor monsters can nuke your opponent's monsters, but no spells and traps apparently. So it's always good to have some back row removal. And now to the traps, I run 2 Raidraptor Readingless, which its effect makes it where all Raidraptor monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle. And you can banish this card from the graveyard, and you take no damage for the rest of the turn, so decent protection, which is why I run it. And it's also a Tribulunius target if you have nothing else. And then because they're all Wing Beasts, I run Icarus Attack. I don't run Allure of Darkness in this deck because each Raidraptor monster is essentially a key piece, so I really do not want anything banished, which is why I don't run Allure of Darkness. And now it's to the Exceed monsters that start off small with our main Searcher, Raidraptor, 3 copies. So its effect is that it gains 500 attack and defense for each Winged Beast monster you control other than this card, but that's not the main focus of the effect. The main focus is the second effect where you can detach a material and add 1 level 4 Winged Beast from your deck to your hand. Main focus of that effect. If the Master Fool for revision happens to be April's Fool jokes for some reason, I'll just cut this back at 2 and just run Wise Strix. Copy of Wise Strix. But other than that, I'm still running 3 I'm running 3 copies because now with the Master Rule for revision, you could summon like all 3 easily. And then, so next I go with Rise Falcon, which has the ability to attack all your opponent's special summon monsters, and you can detach 1 material and then gain 1 of your opponent's special summon monsters attack. Which it's going to be over, which this will be, of course, higher than the highest monsters attack by 100. And they can attack all of them, and which is why I'm running like the MSTs, because this card can nuke your opponent's field pretty much. And then I run the Blade Burner Falcon. When this card's Exceed Summon, if your life points is lower than your opponent by 3,000, this card's attack becomes 4,000 essentially. When this card destroys an opponent's monsters by battle, you can detach as many materials as possible and then destroy as many cards. But you're not really going to rely on this, unless if you happen to go first and then your opponent tries to OTK you. Most likely you're not going to really get that off, but at least get the 4,000 attack point effect off. And now, to continue ranking up, let's go to Blaze Falcon, which has the ability to pretty much Regeki all your opponent's special summon monsters by detaching a material. And then your opponent takes 500 damage for each one that was destroyed. And while it controls a material, it could direct attack your opponent. And if your opponent takes damage, you can destroy one of your opponent's monsters. So this card's really good for nuking, but the only weakness of pretty much all the Raidraptor monsters is that they have low attack, but they have insanely powerful effects. And then to my favorite one, Revolution Falcon. So, its effect is that when this card battles a special summon monster, its attack becomes 0. That's one of the reasons. And then the second effect is that you can detach one material. This card can attack all monsters your opponent controls. Once each, of course. And then the third effect, when you have an Exceed monster as material, you can destroy one of your opponent's monsters on the field and your opponent takes damage equal to half its attack. This one has quite powerful effects, which is why I run 2. And the other reason why I run 2 is because I also run a card, Skip Force, which also ranks up by 2. And even if you do go Blaze Falcon with Mimicry or something, and then you have a Quick Play rank up, you can go to this. So this card's not really hard to summon. And also it has a very powerful effect. And this is actually the card I summon way more often than my big boss monsters, because this card plays really offensively more often than the big boss monsters, which play a lot more defensively, which is why I summon this card much more often. To continue ranking up, because we don't have rank 7 released into TCG, I guess we go to rank 8. Satellite Cannon Falcon. So, Satellite Cannon Falcon, when summoned with a Raidraptor monster, you can Harpy Feather, thus stir your opponent's spell and trap card zone, and your opponent can activate anything responding to this effect. So that's pretty good right there. But the second effect, which is probably not as good as Revolution Falcon, but you can detach one material. One of your opponent's monsters loses 800 attack for each Raidraptor monster in the graveyard. By the time you pretty much summon this, you probably will have that effect activated, and your opponent's monster will probably go to 0. And now, of course, to many people's main boss monster for Raidraptors, Ultimate Falcon. Unaffected by card effects. And once per turn, you can detach one material. Your opponent can activate any cards or effects for the rest of the turn. And then, at the end phase, if you control a Raidraptor or Exceed monster as material, and your opponent controls a monster, it loses 1,000 attack. If they control no monsters, they take 1,000 damage. So of course this is decent, but most of the time you're going to really summon this with Lastrix, because you're going to summon this, and then you're going to like Skip Force, just summon this. And then if you do happen to activate the effect, then it just pretty much becomes a big wall and doesn't really do anything other than becoming a big wall. Most of the time. And even if you do not do that, your opponent does take 1,000 damage per turn and loses 1,000 attack per turn, but it's not really useful for any other purposes other than being a big wall, which is why this is not my main focus for the deck. And there's something even more ultimate, apparently, because it's Final Fortress Falcon, which is unaffected by card effects if you control a material. If you have a material. Exceed monster material anyway, which is worse than the Ultimate Falcon's protection, but whatever. And then second effect is that you can detach one material, take all the banished Raidraptor monsters, that will be important for the next effect, and put them back in the graveyard. So its third effect is, after this card destroys a monster by battle, you can banish one Raidraptor monster from the graveyard, and this card can attack again, and this effect can be used twice per turn. Yeah, it's not as good, but this card can be very good as a big beat stick and can destroy your opponent, unlike Ultimate Falcon, where it cannot really beat down your opponent other than be a big wall. This card can be both, but I do summon this sometimes. But I still like to run it because I want to have all the Raidraptors. And then for my last Exceeds, and then because I'm running all Wing Beasts, I still run the zero force. But other than that, alright, finally we got the new Link monster, Raidraptor Y-Strix. So it's a Link 2, it requires 2 Darkwing Beasts, and its effect is when you Link summon, you can special summon one Darkwing Beast monster from your deck in defense position with its effects negated, and it cannot be used as Link material during the turn. And if your Raidraptor Exceed monster activates its effect, you can set one Quick Play Renko magic from your deck face down in your spell and trap card zone, and you can use that in the same turn. So it's not too bad of a card, although it's kind of too late now with the new Master Rule update, but it can actually be worth running. And I might actually bump my Revolution Force up because of this. But you're mainly going for Exceed play, so I might actually decide to take it out. Alright, that's it for the deck profile, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And please release Arsenal Falcon already, please.